One other question for Gunther.
Yeah.
Gunther, you've done a lot of musicology, and jazz has needed more musicology. I mean, some study that is deeper than criticism, but that really goes in and gives a stronger analysis of what the music is made of. You've done a lot in the early music. I know you can't write it all, but what do you think the biggest holes in jazz musicology are now?
The biggest holes?
Biggest holes. What studies really need to be in the gaps, yes.
Yeah. Well, I think as far as jazz, I mean, we have ethnomusicology, which is the study of all the world's music that I spoke about. We have, of course, musicology in jazz now in many of the universities and conservatories. So this has become a serious study. And the magazine, the monthly that comes out every month from, I think it's Pittsburgh University Jazz Studies. That's all scholarly work researching not only the history of jazz, but jazz's relationship to other styles and languages. So but I think that there is still more writing about the history and the sort of anecdotal history of jazz than there is about the kind of really serious study and analysis of how this incredible music is put together by these musicians, these composers, these arrangers. Because obviously improvisation is a form of composition. It's instantaneous composition. And that is very hard to study, to see how a person has such a complete control of his or her instrument and can instantaneously, in less than a split second, put what they just thought in their brain or ear and put that into that horn instantaneously, and it comes out in the hands of the greatest of them as a great composition. And the other, my final sentence on this, is the other thing that is not, I believe, this may be more personal point of view of mine than many other people's, but the idea that composition and jazz and improvisation need to be considered equal in jazz work. That is to say, whereas the first early 30, 40, 50 years, improvisation was really the big thing, and composition was used only in the sense of playing on show tunes or popular tunes, which was great. And the improvisations of a Louis Armstrong or the people in Ellington's orchestra or whatever are fantastic. They can be compared with anything in classical music, qualitatively. But now, recently, composition has come a little bit more to the fore. Actual sitting down. I mean, I think of Mingus's masterpiece, Epitaph, which is 20 movements of the most varied, incredible jazz music that goes all the way from the, as we used to say, low-downest blues to the most advanced Stravinsky and Schoenbergian kind of music. So composition has moved more into the center of jazz activities, and I think that's a wonderful thing. And I think in that part, the musicological and analytical research hasn't really caught up with that enough. We now have hundreds of pieces. When I was young, there were no pieces that, except for Ellington's, that were extended form pieces, 5 movements. Now there's hundreds, maybe thousands. And for symphony orchestra and jazz orchestra, bringing everything together, including composition, improvisation, that's the next frontier, really.